Final video of 2020, and we're going to have a laugh at somebody who's had a really bad day. Now, I've been very vocal in saying I don't know much about Q. I don't really take it seriously. It seems like the Russiagate for the right. A lot of people are very deep into this kind of stuff, and Lin Wood is one of the ringleaders when it comes to this, and the dude had a little bit of respect with me at the beginning of the year. You know what? He was doing good stuff for Nick Sandman. He got him a huge settlement there, but then the tide really started to turn when he took on the case for Kyle Rittenhouse, turned that into a sideshow, and then turned the We the People project into this. I don't know what the fuck he's doing with trying to set the election straight, but it's not working. It's not working, okay? It's just become a lightning rod for all of the media, for all of the people who are just looking at the corruption of the election as just complete fucking head cases, and give them a person to point at and laugh and make it look like a complete and utter disaster. And shit like this on no conceivable planet would ever work, okay? I read this to begin with, and we're going to read it here. And when I got to the last line, I was like, okay, maybe he's just making a joke. It'd be a joke that I would make. You know what? It sounds funny, but then we'll go through his Twitter timeline and see if he was actually like, no, guys, this is just a joke. And we're going to have some legitimate reasons to be optimistic about 2021 and the direction that these lawsuits are going. But no, that's just clearly not the case. Dude is just having one of those days. I'm fully aware of the onslaught of attacks being made against me based on my revelations about Chief Justice John Roberts. We'll circle back to that because this dude has it out for John Roberts. Listen, there's a bunch of legitimate reasons to hate John Roberts. You can hate on John Roberts and also not make the allegations that he's making. These are two mutually exclusive positions to hold, but you also don't have to link them up with somebody that we're going to talk about, unfortunately, for reasons why we still have to bring him up several years after his death. Before attacking me, maybe fair-minded people would first ask Roberts to tell the truth, something that Lin Wood bangs on about all the time without providing many receipts. I'm not going to say he always comes unprepared, but he's like that kid in class who always shows up with his notebook, but he's always begging for a pen. He's always about halfway there. So, let's take this from the top. I'm fully aware of the onslaught of attacks being made against me based on my revelations about Chief Justice John Roberts. Before attacking me, maybe fair-minded people would ask Roberts to tell the truth or ask Jeffrey Epstein. He is alive. Oof. Okay, that could be funny. If he wasn't alleging John Roberts was on the flight logs for Jeffrey Epstein's island. There are pictures circulating that has the name John Roberts on the flight logs. I'm going to see if it's on this thread here. It's mostly just, it's Twitter, of course, it's just going to be Trump slander and a bunch of apologists for him as well, but it's not. Yeah, okay, here it is right here. Yeah, okay, the name John Roberts is on this flight log, this very flight log right here. And people with a lot more time than I do have matched up the dates, so it would be January 10th, 2011. The thing is, on that day, the Supreme Court was actually sitting and Roberts was there. So that's got to be another John Roberts. And if that's the only piece of evidence that you have there and you're trying to link him to a pedophile ring, you're going to need to come better equipped. Like, I want to like the dude, okay? I want to like what he's putting out there because he's fucking working his balls off, apparently. But the way that he did Kyle Rittenhouse dirty and this fucking unhinged ranting about people that are in the Trump, like Mark Meadows, a guy who stood by Trump through thick and thin. He's right there with Mike Pompeo, just being good soldiers down since day one. And he's making up these fucking claims that, oh, he's in deep with Big Pharma and Bill Gates and Moderna. And the dude, I don't know, he got caught having a bad take and has just continued to double down. And then, like I said, I was searching, and it's like making sure, it's like, okay, maybe he was just making a joke, but then he fucking loses the plot, and he's like, despite what is being said about me, I want you to know that I do not think I am God. I am I must have a really bad memory, totally forgetting when I was created, the universe, and myself, but I do firmly believe. See, that could at least be taken as a joke. That's kind of funny. But I do firmly believe that the Holy Spirit resides in every one of God's imperfect children. See, he's kind of trying to deflect. So we can pull up this story here. It's from Law and Crime. It's from a source that I've used regularly and I do trust. And I don't know. Maybe everybody's just out to get Lin Wood, and maybe he's just the type of person that we need to lead us into the future. But as you can tell, it's just not the case. And this shit is too funny not to point out, because this fucking guy is bonkers, batshit crazy. Lin Wood ex-law partners claim he was taped admitting to assaults, asserting he may be Christ coming back for a second time. Listen, I'm trying to take the most charitable interpretations of this stuff. I do that for everybody on both sides, and I don't like to use anonymous sources or one source or the New York Times in general. But this is none of those things, okay? These are people who are coming up saying Lin Wood's fucking bonkers. Attorney L. Lin Wood may believe himself to be the vessel of the second coming, and he's not referring to another Donald Trump presidential term. That's what Wood's former law partners wrote in a legal brief, quoting what they describe as recorded conversations, proving that the lawyer gunning to overturn the 2020 election has a habit of associating himself with God Almighty. As you can tell by his Twitter feed, if you guys want to read through that, and I'm pretty sure his Parler feed's the exact same way, so if you prefer to use the superior method, yeah, it still reads as just a guy who's doubling down on the Bible whenever he makes a shitty take. I might actually be Christ coming back for a second term in the form of an imperfect man elevating Christ's consciousness. And an extraordinary footnote quotes Wood telling his partners that cause you to have a little bit of a chill. Who would be more eloquent to say what the will of God is? The belief of God in me. See what he did there? He didn't expressly say he is the second coming of Christ. He said that every piece of human being possesses the will of God, and I'm not a terribly religious person, and I'll butcher the interpretation, but that's the gist of it. So he has a way to weasel out of that at the same time, but at the same time, if you're a devoutly religious person, that's totally fine. Just don't be so fucking preachy with your law partners, okay? Jesus Christ. Said to have called himself... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wood is said to have called himself the representative of various biblical figures. I represent Moses. Oh my God, at least keep your story straight. I represent Ananias the believer. See, I don't know that one. I'm like the power of King David. Oh my God. I'm hoping for a big slingshot towards the sun. Now look, you all, I told you I was going to pray tonight to my God, not to myself. Because to me, there's God and there's me. Fair enough, at least he's making the differentiation on this time. The quotations came to light during contentious litigations between Wood and his former partners Nicole Wade, Jonathan Grunberg, and Taylor Wilson, who broke up from L. Lin Wood PC earlier this year to start their own firm, Wade, Grunberg, and Wilson LLC. They filed their lawsuit on August 30th. This year's presidential election had still been months away, and Wood was known for representing Kenosha shooter. He was defending himself, okay? I'll die on that hill. And QAnon adherent Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was then a congressional candidate, and she's won. She's not quite as fucking batshit crazy, but yeah, like I said, I don't know about a lot about that QAnon stuff. If they're against pedophiles, that's probably a good thing, but if it eventually leads back to a pig farmer in the Philippines, we can probably just let it die. Let it die. Wood previously had a long history with a high-profile client such as JonBenet Ramsey. Oh, parents of JonBenet Ramsey. Interesting. And Richard Jewell, whose name he cleared in the 1996 Atlanta Olympic bombings. I was only 6 years old. I don't quite recall that one, but okay. Okay. The former partners claim that the relationship with Wood, spanning roughly half a decade, started deteriorating late last year as Wood began to exhibit erratic, hostile, abusive, and threatening behavior. In the fall of 2019, defendant Wood also committed assault and battery on Grunberg in an elevator of a hotel room during an out-of-town deposition. They wrote in their complaint, which also alleges that Wood attacked Wilson in both assaults. There was essentially no reason whatsoever for the attack, and the defendant Wood later acknowledged and apologized for this violence. This is not uncharted waters for attorneys to lose their mind. I'm going to make an O&A reference here. So a couple of you people who are big O&A fans here who subscribe to the channel, I've talked to you before. You might know where I'm going with this one. Dominic Barbara, who represented Anthony Cumia's wife during his divorce proceedings. He later turned out to be just a complete degenerate, went through 6 or 7 divorces, became homeless, and faced a multitude of assault allegations. So this isn't exactly uncharted waters. It's just sad to see somebody who's in such a high profile position, probably because of the media has put him there, because he is kind of an unhinged individual and has been for a little while. That's why it's so easy for the media to lampoon any sort of the legitimate claims that are being made by the Trump legal team. He's never been on the Trump legal team officially. Sidney Powell may or may not have. I don't know. Let's just say that she has. But she's been dragged very deep into this. And as recently as 2019, she was highly respected. And when it was said that she was going to be defending President Trump in a couple of those different places as well by placing her own lawsuits, everybody was well on board because she did a great job with Michael Flynn. And she's hitched her wagon, or Lin Wood has infiltrated her camp, and she's kind of become toxic in this entire situation. Not like her behavior is toxic, but just her entire appeal and her aura has become kind of toxic based on this. But as we seen earlier in this Twitter thread, he was making accusations about Justice John Roberts. I don't like him. Okay, we've seen a bunch of different rulings, and Roberts always sides with the 3 other liberal justices. Okay, to say that he's a conservative judge is looking at the cover of the book and not even bothering to glance through the glossary. And I tried to look for something that would be an outlet that I could use that isn't going to go ahead and just be a left-wing partisan hack site who would just gloat and revel in the fact that one of a Trump-affiliated people are going off on this unhinged type of a rant, but we'll have to settle with the Independent, and I'll try to parse out the horse shit as we go along. A conspiracy theory touting lawyer championing Donald Trump's election fraud claims also believe that notorious child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. See how they lead with just the most salacious details of the Twitter meltdown? Yeah, exactly. Lin Wood, by the way, they can't even get his fucking name right. A lawyer who represented the Kenosha shooter, yes, no longer does, which is the reason why I don't give him much credit anymore, and who has taken up Trump's claims, never officially a part of the legal team, made claims, yes, on Twitter without providing any evidence, but it would all come out. You just need to trust the process, trust the plan. Stupid. Epstein died in prison in 2019. Now, if we want to have a conversation about how Jeffrey Epstein died, I think we're all open to different interpretations, and suicide is not necessarily high on any of those lists. Charged with sex trafficking and conspiracy to traffic minors for sex. Mr. Wood's latest bizarre statement. Okay, see, trying to further drag down his reputation. Like I said, this is not a perfect article, but it's what we have to go with right now. Was made as part of a layer cake of conspiracy theories while he was advancing a theory that Chief Justice Roberts had something to do with the death of Justice Antonin Scalia, who died in 2016. I am fully aware of the onslaught of attacks that are made against me based on my revelations about Chief Justice Roberts. That was the tweet that we read earlier, and we don't need to go over that. Well tread path. Epstein's death was ruled a suicide, and Mr. Scalia died of natural causes at age 79. Yeah, his death is a little bit suspect, though. Seemed to be in perfect health, and then all of a sudden went to a hotel and didn't wake up. I don't know. It could be a heart attack. It's most likely a heart attack, something like that. Which also, good segue, by the way. We'll just finish off this article before I go back into that. We'll just put a pin in that for a minute. Mr. Lin's conspiratorial tweets began on Wednesday when he questioned why Justice Roberts was discussing Mr. Scalia's successor prior to his death, insinuating Justice Roberts knew something about Justice Scalia's impending death. Yes, Justice Scalia was nearly 80 years old with a history of high blood pressure and heart issues. Yeah, that would make sense. I'm sure they're probably having the exact same conversations about Stephen Breyer right now. I'm pretty sure that's the name of him. He's over 80 years old. He's the next one who's going to be replaced. I don't mean to be morose in the final video of 2020, but that's just the fact of life. He's going to end up retiring or, unfortunately, something worse. But, Antonin Scalia probably died from a heart attack. it turned out that congressman-elect from Louisiana who died of COVID complications, had a heart attack. That probably kills you a little bit faster than the coof, by the way. So stupid. I might do a full video on that, but I want you guys to know that, just in case anybody... I'm not going to say that you're going to be running into them at a New Year's Eve party or something, but if they want to tell you that, COVID killed a lot of people and it just killed somebody who was 41 years old and healthy. He had a heart attack and he died. Sad. But once again, finding young, healthy people who die from the coof is incredibly difficult to do. After pondering Justice Roberts' motives, he then asked Chief Justice, was a member of any club or cabal requiring minor children as an initiation fee. Justice Roberts has not publicly replied to the tweet. I wonder why. I don't even know if any of the Supreme Court justices have a Twitter account or Parler account. Maybe. Probably have private Instagram accounts. Who knows? Premium Snapchats. He then went on to allege that Justice Roberts arranged for an illegal adoption of 2 children from Epstein, claiming Epstein knows pedophilia. What the fuck? That's not like wow, those are strange things to bring up. It's just... those are big claims that you definitely need receipts for before you make. Not much left in this article, so there's no real point in reading the rest of it. It just goes on to continue to drag him, saying, he's calling for people to boycott in Georgia. Like I said before, when he first made those statements, and him and Sidney Powell, and he was dressed up like Trump, and it was fucking real creepy anyways. No, he was saying unless shit kind of cleans up. He wasn't quite as eloquent as I'll be right now. Unless the voting methods and measures and security procedures are properly addressed, you guys probably shouldn't bother voting in Georgia. Do that as just kind of an ultimatum in order to make sure that they do the right thing in Georgia ahead of the runoffs, or otherwise, we're not going to show up for you. They have, best as some establishment hack Republicans can. I don't know, everything that we're seeing out of Ossoff and Warnock, I'm even less impressed with them. One is an alleged wife beater, and the other one is telling you that Kelly Loeffler is actively campaigning with members of the Klan. She took a picture with somebody who showed up at a rally, okay, just fuck off. But at the same time, Loeffler and Perdue, for many reasons that I've documented in a bunch of different videos, are less than appealing, but it's better than the Democrats holding the Senate. But at the same time, Mitch McConnell, see how much of a catch-22 this entire scenario is. It's not good for Republicans, and especially with a guy at the head of the Senate actively going against the guy you see probably right next to my face. I can't really tell, but as you can see Trump there, Mitch McConnell is actively undermining him, and the fact that he'll be the highest ranking Republican if everything kind of shakes out like how the odds will probably have it is less than ideal. But even less ideal than that is Democrats holding all 3 branches. Take what you can get, but still fight for what you believe is right. And when I say fight for what you believe is right, make sure that you have the evidence to back it up, and not wild ghost stories where you're chasing shit across the globe. But I guess it's a lot easier when you think that you're the second coming of Christ, so we'll take that with a grain of salt, I suppose. Anyways, guys, hopefully that it didn't piss you off if you're Lin Wood supporters. The dude just had a fucking bad day, and he's had kind of a bad year. And I think we can all finally turn the page on 2020. And at the same time, just a final message. It's the final video that'll be going up today. 2020 has fucking ruled from my perspective, okay? I'm not going to join in with the crowd that's saying, 2020 was so bad and 2021 will be so much better. Those are the same people, if you go back through their posts, saying 2019 was shit, 2020 will be better, 2018 was shit, 2019 will be better, and so on and so forth. For a multitude of reasons, they always come up with the same complaints over and over again because they refuse to take the step forward to bet on themselves to try and improve their life. And that's what I did in 2020, and I know it's going to pay off. It's already paid off. 212 of you right now have signed up to this channel over the course of a few months, and I can't thank you all enough. It's been amazing, and I don't want to cry on camera because I think that would make me look like a bit of a bitch, but I want to thank you all very much from the bottom of my heart for making 2020 exceptional from my perspective. Hopefully I left you this year a little bit more informed, give you a couple more jokes for your quiver, and I really hope you'll stick around for 2021 because this channel's going to explode. Hopefully not in the way that the higher ups at YouTube and Susan Wojcicki would like it to happen, but hopefully in the best way possible. And if not, feel free to follow me over on Rumble. Anyways, guys, have a tremendous New Year's Eve. If you're going out there to party hard. Enjoy the super long weekend. Otherwise, we'll catch you back here tomorrow with brand new videos and a brand new year. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.